Hi everyone, nice to see everyone. Sorry I don't speak Korean, so the session will be in English. Super excited to be here today. Actually, this is the first time for us to introduce Extend to the Korean market. My name is Adrian. I'm the Chief Commercial Officer of Extend. As I mentioned, this is the first time for us to introduce ourselves to the Korean market. So I would like to really extend a really big thank you to our friends from AB180 and Airbridge. I guess the first question you have in your mind is, who is Extend, right? Like who is Adrian, speaking about Extend, a brand that you have never heard of. And I would like to answer this question from a personal perspective. I have joined this company for 5 years, and to be very honest with you, in my first 4 years in the company, Extend doesn't even exist, right? In my first 4 years, I work under a company called Shareit. Shareit. I don't know how many of you have heard of Shareit, but actually Shareit is one of the most downloaded apps in the history of Android. If you go to Google now or Naver to search, top 10 most downloaded apps in the history of Android, you will see Shareit, among number 6 or number 7, just below the Facebook, Instagram, and all those very, very popular apps. So, the user base of Shareit is around 2 billion downloads and 500 million monthly active users around the world. In some countries, we have even more users than Instagram and Spotify. But you may ask me, hey Adrian, like if Shareit is so big, why haven't I heard of Shareit? Now, that's because the market that Shareit is big in are developing countries, right? Shareit is basically a file sharing app. It replaces AirDrop for Android, right? We allow people to share different types of files, audio, music, games, apps among themselves without the use of internet, right? So again, like for the one who are interested, you can go to search Shareit, Shareit. Now, as you can imagine, in developed countries like Korea, Japan, the internet speed is very fast, and the cost of data is not very high. So it's very natural for users in these countries to, they don't have to use Shareit. As a matter of fact, before I joined Shareit, I haven't heard of the company before. So yeah, like in my first 4 years in the company, I work under Shareit. I help a lot of top e-commerce brands in the world to get millions and millions of users through Shareit. And I will show you a lot of examples later. But I guess the next question is, okay, then what does it have to do with Extend? And to be honest, in the first 4 years of my journey in Shareit, there is a recurring request from our top clients, especially from the e-commerce clients. They say, hey Adrian, like you have been generating millions and millions of installs for me. You have grown my user base as much as how much Google has helped us. Can you move to do something that is more lower funnel, more conversion focused? In simple terms, they are asking us to do retargeting for them. And this has been something that at the back of our mind for more than 3-4 years until last year. So last year, one of the partners of the company, who is also my manager, finally decided to pull the top 50 people from the company, and we formed this special SWOT unit called Extend. And this is how Extend is born. Now, I guess the first question we ask ourselves is, why does the market need another retargeting company, right? I mean, this is a 10-year-old, if not 15-year-old, industry. There are so many brilliant solution providers in the market. Like, what are the extra value that we can provide to the market? And you can see a lot of USPs here, but if I have to summarize our USPs in one sentence, I would say we can bring customized, tailor-made and key account focus to our accounts. So what does it really mean? If you see this slide, you will see a lot of big e-commerce brands across the world. And when I dare to put their logos on this slide, it means we are not just running a small trial campaign, small test campaign with them for a few months and then pause, and then I just put their names here as the reference. The the fact that I'm putting the logos here means that we have been running, campaigns and marketing activities with them for at least 3 years. And in most of the companies here, we are among the top 3, if not top 5, performance marketing channels. So back to our USP. The reason why, for example, Shopee has worked with us for such a long time is because when they first approach us, they just want to run a very simple CPO campaign, cost per order campaign, right? Like, who wouldn't do that? Obviously, in the first 1 or 2 months, we listen to them. We try to run this campaign, and it's somewhat successful, right? We have increased our revenue, and they are happy with the results. But something that just doesn't feel right. We feel that the conversions that we brought to them are, a little bit cannibalizing with their organic traffic. Some of the conversions are going to happen anyway. So we actually proactively talk to them and say, hey, Shopee, right? If you really want to bring incremental orders to your campaigns, you shouldn't run this strategy with all your publishers. We have done a lot of data analysis to prove that if they want to really bring incremental users to their database, they should be running a very specific type of new buyer campaign. For example, one type of campaign that we run with Shopee is people who have never purchased before and people who haven't come to the Shopee app for the past 180 days. Right? It's super challenging to run. The cost per acquisition is much higher than the normal CPO campaign. But our data shows that this is the type of campaign that they should be running. They should not be running a simple CPS campaign. It's just a waste of the marketing budget. I'll give you a lot more examples later, but this is what we mean by key account focus and tailor-made conversions. So I guess the next question you ask me is, okay, Adrian, like you have a lot of reference, but this is the first time for you to enter Korea market. You have no reference in the Korea market, and to be honest, I will be the first to admit, this is true. Like we have not done anything in Korea yet, but 1 year ago we were in the exact same circumstance with the Russia market. 6 months ago, we were in the exact same circumstance with the South Africa market. But fast forward to today, we are already working with the top e-commerce companies in both of the markets that I've just mentioned. So we are very confident that we can do the same thing to Korea, which is one of the top e-commerce markets in the world in terms of GMV. And the way we enter a new market is really consists of two different approach or two different perspectives. The first perspective is what we call the micro approach, right? The micro approach, as the name suggests, we look into our client in a very micro lens, and we try to understand their entire user journey in a very, very deep level. We try to understand the ad exposure to click rate to add to cart rate, add to cart to purchase rate, cart abandonment rate, everything in super detailed lens, because we understand the user behavior of different cohorts are very, very different. From there, we try to devise a strategy for each and single one of the cohorts, right? A lot of the retargeting solutions, even including Facebook and Google, their retargeting solution or their performance marketing solution as a whole is very off the shelf, right? I'm sure their product is top notch, really, really nice algorithm, but the way we think about algorithm is a little bit different. We think that for different user cohorts, right, people who haven't purchased before, for example, versus people who have purchased before but haven't come back in past, say, 3 months, versus people who have purchased before but they haven't come back in in past 180 days. To us, these 3 different cohorts deserve different algorithms, right? So we don't have an off-the-shelf solution to provide. On the contrary, when we run campaigns like this, we will build different algorithms, different solutions for each and single one campaign. So even for the same clients, we build 5 to 6 algorithms with them. For example, there's a company called Noon. I don't know if you have heard of it, but they are literally the Kilpang in the Middle East. With them, we literally built 10 different campaigns with 10 different algorithms just to make sure the conversions we brought to them are truly, truly incremental, right? We don't want them to waste money that is going to bring conversions that, is going to happen anyway. So this is the micro lens. And obviously, in terms of the macro lens, we are talking about how the market behaves, how the users in different markets behave. What you see here, to be honest, is quite general. But what this slide didn't tell you is our ability to really deep dive into different markets and really understand the user behavior in different markets. One super interesting example that I will never forget personally is when we entered the South Africa market, we noticed something really strange, and that is, on average, the number of apps South Africans have in their phone is only 5 to 10, right? And we try to understand why, and the conclusion is it's a very Android-focused market, and their phones are not super top-notch. So the capacity, right, the GB or the storage in their phone is very limited. So users there are very brutal in uninstalling apps. If every week or every 2 weeks, when they feel that I haven't used this app for some time, they will just brutally remove it. That's why, to take a lot, again, the coupon in South Africa, what we recommend to them is, hey, we should run a cost per app open campaign. Don't expect this campaign to bring you conversions. We are very honest and transparent, but this will help you reduce your uninstall rate. This will help at least for your app to be stayed on the user's phone. Then you can do all your kind of CRM magic, right? You can continue with your push notification. You can continue with other types of promotions. But keeping your app in your user's phone is at least the bare minimum you should achieve. So in the coming months, we are also conducting a lot of analysis in the Korea market, and hopefully we can also find out a lot of these insights, which may not be very obvious to local marketeers, but for us who come from the international markets, who have done the same thing with more than 10 different countries, we may be able to find something interesting that we can provide to the market. So just to summarize, the way we work is, again, key account focus, customized, tailor-made algorithm for different campaigns. And we really try to build something very, very unique for every single campaign and client. That being said, we do have different modules in our solutions that we can provide. Now, I'm not going to bore you to death by introducing them one by one, but if anyone in the audience are representing a brand like a Unilever or a P&G, then Shop, Connect, and Expand is something that will appeal to you. Actually, in Southeast Asia, when we work with e-commerce platforms, we also work with brands, and we help them select the most optimal mix to place their products in. Like how much ad exposure should they place in Shopee versus Lazada versus Tokopedia, for example, right? So if you are a brand, this is something we can do as well. And I think the most important one is data labs. That's something that I have just mentioned. Again, for any new clients, especially app-driven, e-commerce-driven, conversion-driven clients, the first 2 weeks is just for us to learn about your user behavior. We will not even run any campaigns. We will try to understand what are the loopholes, what are the opportunities that we can find in your entire user journey, and give it back to you as an insight. And these are the technologies behind our modules. Again, I'm not going to go through them one by one, but I think what's really important is the algo IQ. This is somewhat correlated to the data labs that I have just mentioned. After finding out all these opportunities that we can provide to the advertiser, we will actually assign a campaign strategist for each and single one of campaign to devise the algorithm for each and single one of the opportunity that we have mentioned. A lot of retargeting solutions, when they assign their staff to the advertisers, it's usually account manager, operations, CSM. Obviously, we have all those, but the role that I have just mentioned, campaign strategist, is very, very special because, again, our philosophy is every single cohort is different. So we need someone to add a human touch to the algorithm for each and single cohort and strategy that we have devised, that we have discovered from data labs from the previous page. And this is what Algo IQ is about. The campaign strategist we'll again look into the entire user journey and try to figure out what is the leakage in the entire user flow, and try to figure out some of the solutions that we can improve the entire journey on. And this is actually one example. For one of the leading Korea e-commerce clients, we have actually started working with one of them, and this is just one simple slide that we have provided to them in the Data Labs solution. And as you can see, we first look into the AOV. And what we try to tell them is, we have worked with many other e-commerce companies, and the AOV is typically similar to your range. And your purchase rate and your active rate is either on par or above or below the same type of e-commerce companies, right? So apart from just looking into the data, we also try to bring international insights, comparing them with the top e-commerce players around the world, like Amazon, Shopee, Tokopedia, and try to tell them, whether they are doing a good job or not in the user flow. Yeah, so working with them, it's pretty standard. We will try to do the data integration first, then a trial campaign, then we do optimization. But again, the most important part is really part number one. Again, in the first 2 weeks, 3 weeks when working with us, we don't even run a campaign, right? We just try to understand your data in a very deep way before we even devise any strategy, before we even start any campaigns. So I guess to close, I would like to share 2 case studies with you. One is Shopee. Shopee is actually a very unique case because we have been working with them for 5-6 years. We have brought 20, 30, 40 millions in stores for them in a matter of 3-4 years. And starting from last year, we also started running retargeting with them. And as you can see, we actually proactively recommended them to run a very specific cohort of new buyer campaign. We only target people who have never purchased before, but they are very interested, but they will be very incremental to the platform. And the results have been very successful so far. And I guess this next one is also very exciting to share, because Lazada, being the top competitor of Shopee, they actually have a very different strategy and a different way of working. For most of the e-commerce companies around the world, they will share their audience with you. They will have their own strategy. They will have their own payout model like CPO, CPS, and they will just ask you to run it. Not Lazada. The way Lazada works is they will not allow you to do any targeting, right? So what they do is a method called RTA, real-time audience. What it means is, in your ad network, whenever an impression comes, in real time, you send this ad request to Lazada, and they will, in a matter of 10 milliseconds, they will let you know whether they want this user or not, right? So for us as a DSP, we actually don't have to do any targeting. The hard work of this kind of campaign is we have to pre-select users who we think are qualified for Lazada to send them. They will do the final selection. So this targeting process is like a partnership between us and Lazada. And every week, every month, we have to really deep dive into the data with them, try to understand from them what is the marketing strategies that they are trying to achieve, so we can pre-select the audience in a very in a much better way. Because at the end of the day, when we are working with advertisers at this scale, cloud cost is also very important. We don't want to send them, all the QPS, all the requests that we get from 5 to 6 different SSP, everything to them. This will just be detrimental to both of our cloud costs. So this is Lazada, and we still have a lot of international insights to show. If you are interested, our booth is just outside. You can meet me or our country director, Sean. Will be there to answer any questions. Thank you so much.